Most clinics have no clue how to create content that actually generates revenue. But after creating hundreds of pieces of content for dozens of different clinics, we found a formula that consistently turns video content into high value clients. And in this video, I'm going to break it all down for you. Now, I'm willing to bet you're in one of two scenarios. Either A, you avoid creating content because the thought of it overwhelms you entirely, or B, you create content but it reaches the wrong people, like other clinicians or low quality leads. Regardless of which scenario you're in, this video is going to solve both of those issues so you can begin turning content into consistent profit for your practice. It's called the bridge framework. See, when somebody is introduced to your business, they are here as a new lead on the other side of the bridge, and your business is over here, and in order to buy from you, they need to cross this bridge of trust and education. And it is your job in order to build this bridge so that they have a seamless experience actually turning into a new client or a new patient of your practice. Now, if you don't build this bridge, basically what you're asking them to do is to take a leap of faith. They don't know, like, and trust you yet, and that is an extremely difficult game to play. And that's when you don't have the bridge, what happens is you get those low quality leads and those uneducated customers who are extremely skeptical of the service that you provide. So it is paramount that you have this bridge in place. Now, how do we actually build the bridge? Well, the bridge is built, for the sake of this analogy, brick by brick. We use content in order to build this bridge, and every brick is a piece of content. And you need the right pieces of content in the right places in order for a potential patient to be educated about your service and know everything that they need to know in order to convert into a new patient of your practice. Now, it's very important that we have the right bricks in the right spot, or the right content at the right part of the sales process. What we need to think about is, what do people need to believe in order to buy your offer? Usually there's about 6 beliefs that people need to have. And once people have all of those beliefs, then the only logical thing left to do is for them to buy your service. Because once they've checked all the boxes and logically it makes sense, they have the beliefs of your ideal fit customer, then they are an ideal fit customer. And they're just going to hand you their credit card at that point in time. Now, it's not always that easy where, like, hey, you tell people these 6 things and now they're a customer. But when you have the right content in order to shift those beliefs, you get people across that bridge. Some people are still not going to buy, it's just part of the game, but the people who could have bought will buy because you have the right pieces in place. Where prior to having this bridge, those people wouldn't have bought because you didn't have the right content process in place. So how do we actually find these beliefs? Well, first of all, review your past evaluations and client conversations to identify these beliefs. What do people come to you thinking about your service? What skepticism do they have? What objections do they have about your service? And then in order for them to buy, what is the opposite of that? List out 6 to 8 beliefs with both the before and after. And an example of this is old belief, new belief. And this is one belief, but coming to you, they may have the belief that they will get better care if their insurance covers it, and it will be more affordable for them. And we need to shift that belief into care covered by insurance will get worse results. And when people believe that one-on-one cash pay is better, or care from your cash practice is better than what their insurance will cover, then they're going to buy from you, pending that they can afford it. However, if you don't shift that belief in advance, then they're not going to buy from you. This is now one of your core content topics, is shifting this belief around cash pay care, insurance pay care, and making sure people believe that cash pay care is better. Now, this is just one example, but you need to be able to create this contrast, the before and after, for every single belief people need to have before buying your service, or every belief that needs to be shifted, whether that's around timing, whether that's around what their problem actually is, what the solution actually is, whether that's around money, whether that's around cash pay care versus insurance-based care. There are a list of different beliefs that people need to have, and it is your job to understand those beliefs, understand your buyer's psychology, and then create content around those beliefs. And when people consume enough of that content, they will begin to adopt those beliefs prior to coming in for the evaluation. That's when you have a really, really simple sales process, because people already know what they need to know in order to buy your service. And as I mentioned, once somebody believes every belief necessary in order to buy your offer, the only logical next step is for them to buy your service. Now, before we move on, let me be clear about one thing. We can create all the content in the world, but it doesn't matter if the right people are not seeing the content. And that is why running ads behind the content is so important, because the ads will drive the correct eyes to that content, who are actually our ideal fit customers, and then they will see that content and their beliefs will start to be shifted. But if we just post the content without the right people seeing it, then it's literally going to do no good. It's basically like if you went out and bought a new Bentley and just left it in the garage. Nobody sees it. You don't get to show it off. You don't get to drive it ever. That's what will happen if you create belief shifting content, really good belief shifting content, without having the ad traffic in place. So I could make a whole nother video about the correct ad strategy, and that's a lot of what we talk about. If you want to see that video, comment below and I'll go ahead and create it. But this is just the content side of things. This is just the next piece of the puzzle after the local ad. This is one of the most important pieces of the puzzle, but having ads running without content, I like to say, is like driving a car with no oil in the engine, but it's the same way the other way around. Posting content without ads driving traffic to that content is like driving a car with no oil in the engine. It just doesn't work. So now that you know what kind of content to create, let's talk about how to actually create that content. When it comes to marketing, great marketing is really just being able to deliver one message in infinite ways. And you have multiple messages, you have those 6 beliefs, but how many different ways can we put a spin on those beliefs and shift those beliefs? That is what marketing is. We want to, different people relate to different ideas, and we want to have different ideas for those people to resonate with. An example of this is my client Ben here. He was one of my earlier on case studies, and I needed to leverage that for literally everything that it was worth. So I took this case study and I reformatted it into so many different pieces of content. If we go to my profile here, you can see I have a testimonial with him here. I have more content with him. If we scroll down, we have some more content with him. If you go to my YouTube, you'll see more content with him. You'll see on my story highlights, you'll see stories about him constantly just getting win after win after win. I could have just posted one piece of content about that win and then people would have forgotten about it. Or I can take that win and reformat it into so many different pieces of content so that people are constantly reminded, and I'm constantly hitting people from different angles about the success that I can deliver for a client. And you need to be able to do this the same way, whether it's with client wins or whether it's just with shifting beliefs. Reformat things and find 10 different ways to deliver the same message. An example of this is, say somebody came to me and they wanted to invest into marketing, but they were nervous about making the investment. Well, a few different ways that I could shift their belief around why it makes the most sense to make the investment into marketing is, first of all, we can talk about opportunity costs and how much revenue they're going to miss out on if they do not get their marketing issue solved. Second, I could show them a testimonial of a client who said the exact same thing, and I have multiple of those that I use for that exact reason. Or third, I can just remind them that what they're feeling, the nervousness about investing into marketing, is completely normal because you're trying something new. That's literally what happens anytime you try something new. There's multiple ways that I can help somebody overcome that limiting belief in order to make the right decision to grow their business, and different ways are going to resonate with different people. I might as well use every single method and pieces of content to make sure that if message B resonates with person C, that they're going to see message B. But the whole point here, and if we're going to get very granular, is to have multiple bridges from point A to point B, multiple different ways to shift people's beliefs. And the more ways you have to shift people's beliefs, the more you will shift people's beliefs, and the more they will adopt the mindset that they need to have in order to buy your service. So now that you understand the strategy, I'm going to show you how easy it actually is to get started with this and start creating that belief shifting content. Just pull out your phone, open the Edits app, and if you don't have the Edits app downloaded, I would definitely get the Edits app. It's the fastest and easiest way to create content to post to Instagram. And I'm just going to take a moment to think about what I'm going to say, but I'm going to use one of the examples that I just talked about here. If you're nervous about starting a new marketing strategy for your business, then that is 100% normal, but the nervousness, the fear does not go away. Think about if you're going skydiving and your feet are dangling on the edge of the plane and you feel pretty scared at that moment. Do you think that if you sit there and wait, the fear is going to go away? No, it's not. Until you jump, the fear is going to stay there. But the longer you sit there and wait, you get into analysis paralysis. You start to think about everything that could go wrong, and then maybe you don't jump at all. And relating this back to your business, if you don't jump at all, and if you don't take the step to actually invest into marketing, you're never going to find out what works for your business. You're never going to find a way to get new customers, and you're going to stay stuck month after month after month because you were scared to take a swing with marketing in order to ultimately get more customers. And I see so many business owners in this situation, and they stay stuck for months because they didn't take a swing. You're never going to feel more comfortable about investing into yourself and getting a marketing channel up and running. So you might as well just go ahead and boom, we got it. Add some captions, add a headline, and your video is ready to go. Now you should do this as much as you possibly can, whether that's multiple times per day or multiple times per week. Depends on your schedule, of course, but the more that you can get it in, the more warmed and qualified leads you're going to get into your pipeline, and the easier your sales process is going to be. When you pair this content strategy with the right ad strategy, you'll be able to fill your calendar with qualified leads every single week that are ready to buy from you and nobody else, because you built that brand and that know, like, and trust factor. And if you want help building your own customized strategy in order to scale your practice, click the link in the description. Let's find the time to chat and we'll create a game plan for you if it makes sense. Otherwise, I'll see you in the next video. Talk soon.